Jim Byrne here from Decide Solutions. During this video, I'd like to demonstrate how to animate springs inside of SOLIDWORKS. I'll begin by making the spring. This functionality has been in the software for a number of years now. When you make your springs, you don't have to create a helix anymore. You can simply make a straight line for the path and the spring. And I'm going to leave this one underdefined for the length. Double click to exit out of the sketch and make another sketch for the wire diameter on the same plane. I'll add a couple dimensions to fully define this. Add a horizontal sketch relationship, and again double click to exit out of the sketch. When you go to the sweep command, pick on your profile and then your path. And you won't see a preview because both sketches are on the same plane. We can change our orientation twist type to twist along path and define it by the number of turns. In my case, I'll make it 10 turns. And then we'll see a preview that we can accept. Now, during this demonstration, I'm not going to focus on making a real fancy spring, but I do want to flatten both ends, and I'll use planes to do that. With my top plane, I'll insert a cut with surface, and I'll generate a new plane for the other end. Right click, recent commands, and use cut with surface again. And we'll save this as our spring. I already have an assembly that's started that has my spring mounts in it. I think the easiest way to mate this is to drag and drop the flat face of my spring over to a flat face on my spring mount. And then we can go ahead and use our path and mate it to this cylindrical face to make those concentric. And we'll notice that the part that I have up here at the top can still move. It has 1 degree of freedom. Well, we want to attach our spring to that. We can simply edit the sketch of the path on my spring. And again, we didn't fully define the length of that line. We're going to add a sketch relationship between that and one of the edges of this mount. Make that coincident. And then we can exit out of the edit part mode for the spring. And you'll notice that when I move this top piece and rebuild, the spring will update. We can animate that. Down here at the bottom, you'll notice a motion study tab that we can pick on. Usually what I like to do is right click on the orientation and disable playback of view keys. Grab the timeline and drag and drop it to, well, 2 seconds in this case. Move a component, and you'll notice that it makes a path for that piece. Then we can move the timeline again, move the part back into another position, and pick on the calculate button to make sure it works. And this is going to be a bit chunky because it's previewing it at about 8 frames per second. When that's finished, you can stop it. Maybe change the playback mode to normal. Move your timeline to 0. And save the animation. After you give it a name, tell it how many frames per second you want. In my case, I'll put in about 15. And you can also change the aspect ratio if you'd like before clicking on save. It will ask you what compression quality you'd like. I usually like to stick with 85. You can bump it up a little higher. Just be aware that it will increase the size of the file. Click OK and let it generate the AVI. And this pretty much concludes it. When this is finished, you can, of course, open up the AVI in a standard Windows media player. And that's all I have. Enjoy making your animations of your springs inside of SOLIDWORKS. Thank you.